Hey YouTube, thanks for tuning in to my channel called Stories with Lonnie. I am Lonnie and today I am going to tell you guys a story. After all, my channel is called Stories with Lonnie. So today's story is going to be about the first time I ever found out I was pregnant. I was 18 and me and my husband, we weren't married at the time. We were, I believe, just girlfriend and boyfriend. And I, of course we were doing things that we shouldn't have been doing. And not using things that we should have been using. And one day, for weeks, I just kept feeling really sick and nauseous and really tired. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. I'm just because I had never been pregnant before, so I'm just I don't know, I just don't feel good. So after weeks of complaining about that, me and my husband, we had went to a NASCAR racing racetrack or whatever to watch the race cars race. And for anybody who's been to something like that, you know that thing, it goes on for hours and hours. So we're out there during the summertime, so it's hot. And well, maybe it wasn't summer, maybe it was spring. Either way, I know that day it was hot outside, and I just kept complaining, I don't know, I still don't feel good. I feel like I need to go home. And my husband's like, no, the game, the race is almost over with. Try to hang in there. We're fine. You're fine. Because my husband, he always thinks I'm a drama queen. So anything I say, it's always you're just being overly dramatic. You're not in pain. You're not really bleeding. All this. You know how men are. They always try to minimize the way us women feel. Not all men, but my man specifically. So anyway, I still kept complaining throughout the entire race, I still don't feel good. He just kept telling me, come on, it's almost over, just stay. So I'm just I stayed, but I just still wasn't feeling well, still felt like crap. So then we went home after the race, and then I went to bed. And then the next day I woke up and we had a nightstand by the bed. And I look up, so I'm sleeping, resting in, just sleeping in peace. And then I wake up, I look at the end table, and a pregnancy test is just sitting there. So, I guess my husband knew something was up, so he had a pregnancy test right there waiting for me. So he wasn't there, I think he was at work or whatever, so I just took the test on my own. And when I took it, it said that I was pregnant. How it was positive. So I'm freaking the heck out. I had, even though I was already I graduated from high school already. I had a job where I was making at least $12 an hour, and I had my own vehicle. So, and me and my husband, I think at the time we were staying with his parents. So that was our downfall, because, we were living with his parents. But besides that, I was pretty decent, anyway, so I'm still freaking out though, because me, I have anxiety issues, and I was a shelter child, so I was freaking out, oh my gosh, what do I do, so then I call my mom and I'm hey, I just took a pregnancy test and it says that I'm pregnant. What do I do? And she's just well, you're pregnant. At this point, it is what it is. And I'm crying. She's what are you crying for? I said, I don't know. I'm just scared. And then, some pregnancy tests, they show false positives or whatever. So I'm let me go to the dollar store, because I'm cheap. Let me go to the dollar store and try taking another test just to make sure, So I'm still freaking out, but I hop in the car and I'm driving and I'm freaking out, freaking out. And I'm about to turn, like, you know, when you're at like a turning lane and the Dollar Tree was like right there, or the Family Dollar, I don't remember what it was, but one of those type of stores was right there. And you know how like you have to yield to the oncoming traffic, and I guess like I thought I was gonna make it, and or something like that, whatever. But I almost got into a car accident because of, I guess I went when I shouldn't have went, because I was freaking out that bad. So anyway, I did make it to the store, safe and sound. Nobody died or anything. And I think I bought 2 of them. So I went back home, took the test, they were positive again. So then I'm like, oh Lord, I'm so, like, because I don't know what to do, not that, like, I didn't want to, like, because me and my husband, we had already talked about marriage, and we had already talked about, having a family, beforehand, but we just didn't expect it to happen so soon. But when you're not following the proper precautions to make sure that you don't get pregnant or whatever, then stuff happens. So, I told my husband, and he, already knew it. He could, tell by my symptoms and by the way that I was acting that, I had to be pregnant. So yeah, but then after that, my pregnancy was a breeze. I didn't, you know how some people, they develop diabetes while they're pregnant? I didn't get that. I carried my son, I think almost all the way through. And I think my labor was like, I think I went in labor at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I had him at like 3 something in the morning. So 1 to 1 is 12. So maybe it was later, because I think I had it might have been a little later. I know I'm bad for not remembering all this, but I'm pretty sure I was in labor for at least 15 hours, and they did not let me eat or drink anything. My lips were so freaking chapped. And when I was pregnant, my nose, like, if you think I have a big nose now, like, it was like right here. Seriously, like, it was huge. And I just looked a hot freaking mess. Just know that, okay? But yeah, so that is my my pregnancy story on how I found out that I was pregnant. If you guys want any other stories for me to tell you guys, maybe about like the actual labor, or anything else, then just let me know. Thanks.